I am here to help probe into the workings of Kenya's foreign policy imperatives. My visit also comes on the heels of a memorable tour of Kenya by His Majesty King Charles III. I am here to extend our heartfelt gratitude for His Majesty's enriching visit to Kenya. May I also take this opportunity to congratulate my counterpart, my new counterpart here, Secretary of State for Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Affairs of the United Kingdom, Lord David Cameron, and his immediate predecessor, and now the new Home Secretary, James Spencer Cleverly. I am here to help probe into the workings of Kenya's foreign policy imperatives. My visit also comes on the heels of a memorable tour of Kenya by His Majesty King Charles III. I am here to extend our heartfelt gratitude for His Majesty's enriching visit to Kenya. May I also take this opportunity to congratulate my counterpart, my new counterpart here, Secretary of State for Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Affairs of the United Kingdom, Lord David Cameron, and his immediate predecessor, and now the new Home Secretary, James Spencer Cleverly. The two are consummate diplomats who have steered the Kenya-UK relations to an even keel. In an August 2023 review, the United Kingdom exported £21.7 million of goods, services to Kenya, and imported £29.8 million worth of goods from Kenya, resulting in a negative trade balance of £8.15 million in favor of Kenya. I highlight this to illustrate a rare occurrence where the balance of trade favors an African country. Our foreign policy imperative is to facilitate Kenya's transformation into a competitive export-led economy, enhance regional integration, and widen participation in both domestic and international trade. Under the guiding bottom-up economic transformation agenda, the payoff is beginning to show. Kenya's trade balance recorded a deficit of $847.6 million in September 2023, compared with a deficit of $1 billion in the previous month of August. Kenya supports regional economic integration through the African Continental Free Trade Area. At full implementation, this will create the largest free trade area in the world. It will connect 1.3 billion people across 55 countries with a combined gross domestic product valued at $3.4 trillion and with a potential to lift 30 million people out of extreme poverty. Our commitment to the Africa Free Continental Trade is embroidered in a visa-free entry policy for all Africans. It is in this spirit of continental unity that His Excellency President William Ruto proposed a visa-free Africa, tearing down barriers imposed by hands that were not African. We reject the limitations of the past, advocating for a continent where Africans trade, communicate, and explore freely. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for sparing some time so that we can have an opportunity to engage and discuss a number of issues, not just about Kenya, but perhaps Africa and some aspects of the globe as we see it from Kenya. When I got the invitation, the guideline I was given was to try and look at Kenya's strategic approach to peace, economic connectivity, and aspects of sustainable development within the current context.
I I want to ask a question about, we are living in a world that's divided. United Nations Security Council, extremely divided between the BRICS nations, China, Russia, Brazil, and the other side, Western Hemisphere. We have seen that illustrated by the war in Ukraine. We have seen that being illustrated in Gaza right now as we speak. My point, the international community, we call, extremely busy with all this going on. What about when we come back to Africa, Your Excellency? That sleeping giant you are calling Africa, what can we do to wake it up? To seek self-oriented solutions to African problems? To have an international system or Africa, for example, currency? To make sure we are attracting investment, to make sure we are self-reliant? What can we do in Kenya to make sure we are self-reliant? What methods can we use to make sure Kenya is not also a sleeping giant? Africa stops being a sleeping giant because the world is too busy.
Yes, I gave the example in my remarks about the Africa Continental Free Area, trade area. And these are 55 countries. Let me tell you that virtually all the countries have signed up. They've submitted the instrument to be part of the Africa Free Continental Trade Area. Now that is a good signal. It's a good sign. And through there, we can work together and enhance the connectivity and trade amongst ourselves. I've given an example again in my remarks about Kenya providing a visa-free regime for the African countries. Now, these are issues that we can do ourselves as Africa without having to look beyond the African borders to start getting our own people integrating and moving much more freely. We have institutions such as the African Development Bank, which can be strengthened, Afri-Exim, the trading blocs as well, such as the East African Community and the SADC, COMESA. All these can be consolidated, and we can do it ourselves so that we prepare our capacity to be able to trade and share our economic resources. We can unlock a lot of the mining potential that we have. But the biggest challenge is for us as Africans to deal with the peace issues, because then we must stop being our own enemies. We must stop undermining our own cause. And that is why the initiatives to try and deal with the crisis in Sudan and the other areas in the region is that critical step that we must take ourselves, have our solutions to unlock our potential.